White People, if there was a show called Dear Black People, that would be so racist.
That's the whitest shit you've ever said.
I want to share with you guys my thoughts on Dear White People, but before I get into what I liked and what I didn't like, I just want to address this really quickly. And I mean like really fucking quick, because this is getting so tedious and annoying. Having a show called Dear White People is not racist. First of all, saying Dear White People is literally like the nicest way to address you guys on your bullshit. The funny thing about the people who say this show is racist, half of which probably haven't even actually watched the show, they want to say that this show is racist because of the title of the series and because there's an all-black student group at the school, even though BSUs are kind of a normal thing at high schools and colleges, but whatever. They all completely overlook the fact that more than half the stuff that happens in this show is either a direct or indirect result of a blackface party. And that really is an accurate reflection of the racist people in our society. They want to completely ignore the problem and only address people's reactions to it. And I've even heard some people say that this is the worst series on Netflix, but it's like, if you think this is the worst show on Netflix, you probably haven't seen Iron Fist yet. And how much you want to bet the same people who say this show is racist are probably the same people who see a video of a black or brown person being unjustly shot by the police and look the other way. Typical. Before I watched this series, I actually went back and watched the movie Dear White People, and I wasn't really crazy about the movie. Like, there was things that I liked about it and there was things that I didn't like about it. I wasn't like raving about it. I was happy I saw it, and I was happy that this type of movie came out, and I'm happy that a series was created based off the movie. But I mean, I wasn't like crazy about the original movie. I actually got through this whole series in one night, and it wasn't really because like I was so interested in it that I wanted to keep seeing the next episode. To be honest, it didn't really even pick up for me until about halfway through the series. Something I liked about the show is how every character had a backstory. Like, when you have a movie, every character can't really get their story out, and so I thought it was really dope how every episode was dedicated to a character and you get to learn more about them, more about why they are the way they are, their thought process, and why they feel the way they do about the various things that are going on campus. So I thought that was pretty dope. Another thing I liked is that they showed a really wide variety of black characters and personalities, because when you think about it, when you see black characters on TVs, they tend to be the same type of character. Like, they're the token black person and they have the same narrative, they have the same type of personality, the same type of dialogue, unless you're literally watching a black TV show in which they don't really focus so much on individual thought process and why they are the way they are. It's more so situational comedy and situational drama and them reacting to the crazy things that are going on in their world. In this show, you had the militant black people, you had the bougie black people, you had the gay black people, you had clueless black people, you had foreign black people, you had the black Republicans or conservatives, you had black people who try to turn up their blackness, you have black people who try to like purposely tone down their blackness. You had so many different types of black people in this show, which you really don't see that often. The character lists almost kind of remind me of A Different World, and A Different World is one of my favorite shows, so kudos on that. And they also did that with the white characters as well, but like to a lesser degree. They didn't show one type of white person. To be honest, I feel like a lot of white people low-key think all black people think all white people are racist, and that's really not the case. I like that they showed both sides. They show the white people who are allies and who understand race and privilege, and they also showed the problematic white people. And I just like that they showed a wider range of characters on both sides, and I think it made it a much more like multi-dimensional series and made it much more interesting to watch. You even focus in on individual stories instead of just thinking it's straight up white kids versus black kids. So overall, writing of the characters were really good. Just the writing in general was pretty good. Not amazing, but it was good. Especially once you get halfway through the series, it really starts to pick up. Then it becomes like, okay, next episode, next episode. But as far as writing goes, I think my overall favorite thing about this series is the parodies within the show. In the show, there's this show that they're watching. I just said show like 30 times in a row. There's a show they're watching that's like a parody of Scandal, but I think it was called like Defamation or something like that. And it was just so dramatic, over the top, goofy, ridiculous, but it made it that much more enjoyable. Like, that shit was funny. It reminded me of like in Insecure, the show they were watching was Conjugal Visits, and that show was just ridiculousness. Or like the commercial episode of Atlanta, like that shit is so hilarious to me. Also, like within the show, one of the characters would like daydream, and he was daydreaming in like 70s blaxploitation. Like, this shit was funny. It just adds an extra like necessary humor to the show. Now, some things that I didn't like about this show. First of all, some of the acting was just straight up not good. Reggie's performance was really good. Troy's performance was really good. Lionel's performance was really good. But some of the characters' performances was just like... Coco's character, well, I had to learn to like Coco because she was like the uppity bitch that you're not supposed to like. Through the series, I started to like her, but sometimes, I don't know if this is so much her acting, because I don't think she's a bad actress. Sometimes it was just like a little too much and just like, okay, like chill out a little bit. But that one light-skinned black dude, I don't remember his name in the show, but he was annoying as hell and he was not a good actor. Everything he said sounded really scripted and he was just irritating. Like, every time he said something, I really just wanted to like smack the shit out of him. Like, some of the performances were just a little like... And then I know I said the writing was pretty good. The reason why I don't think it was great was because some of the dialogue was just like really corny. They're using the same type of slang we use now and they want to make references that we can relate to now, but some of it just seemed so forced and unnatural. Like, it almost seemed like they wrote the script first and then they went to Urban Dictionary and like plucked out a few words and just dropped them into the line somewhere. You know when your parents or like an old person tries to like talk the way kids talk now and you're just like... Another thing I didn't like is how they added unnecessary drama. There's already so much going on in this show, and then they just added more unnecessary drama that didn't have any purpose. You know, I love me some Nia Long, but Nia Long's character was so unnecessary. I didn't understand why they threw that in. She played a lesbian teacher who was cheating on her girlfriend or fiance or whatever with Troy, a student. It just led to nowhere. Like, it was just added drama and I don't understand why they did it. Maybe because they wanted Nia Long because her name carries some weight. Maybe they just wanted to show us how good she still looks and we're gonna be like, oh my god, yes, black don't crack, but we already know this. And so the other thing, this wasn't really a critique, I guess. It's more just if I was a part of the writing staff or whatever, I would have tried to make this change. I would have actually tried to make Coco more of a main character than Sam. I get why Sam is a main character because she has the show, she put out the invitation to the party, but I just think Coco's character is a much more relatable character. I think she's more interesting, and other than racism, like, everyone on campus is dealing with racism in some type of way, but each character has their own individual internal issues and flaws that they're trying to fix and overcome. For Sam, hers was being in an interracial relationship and her identity issues as a mixed person. Not that those things aren't important or relevant to the black community, but I think her issues compared to Coco are just less relatable, or relatable to a smaller percentage of the black audience. The only people who's gonna find her character like super relatable are people in an interracial relationship or people who are mixed. Whereas Coco, she's dealing with identity issues also, but not which side to identify with, because I mean, she's black, she can't really hide that she's black, but she's dealing with identity issues like when to turn up her blackness, when to tone down her blackness, trying to fit in with the black sororities and not fully being accepted, trying to fit in with the white sororities and not fully being accepted, self-hate issues when it comes to her skin and when it comes to her hair, trying to date a white guy but not finding any that will really fuck with her, trying to date a black guy and him not really claiming her and her having to ask like, what are we? I just found Coco's character to be much more relatable, much more dynamic, much more interesting. Honestly, I think her character was a lot stronger. Yeah, I think Sam had a stronger mindset than her. I think Sam was a lot more dedicated to the cause of uplifting black people, but overall I think Coco was a stronger character. I think she was a lot lot more fun to watch. Like the scene when her wig comes off, that shit had me dying. Like he's literally holding her wig in his hand and she's like, what wig? Like that shit was so fucking funny. The scene when Coco comes and confronts Sam, she literally put her in her place about how Sam is always talking about the black people who aren't woke enough, aren't dedicated to the revolution enough, but straight up called her out on how she never once mentions her privilege as a mixed girl, as a light-skinned girl. Like she straight called her out and Sam was literally like, even if it was only for a split second. I'm happy that they even mentioned colorism. And just in general, in most cases when you have a main character, you want to see them grow as a character, you know? You don't see Sam grow as a character. Like she fucks up her friendships, she fucks up her relationships, whereas Coco, she actually grows as a character. You can see how her mindset is being changed about certain issues. Even in the scene when her wig does fall off, afterwards she embraces her natural hair. Well, they really just stuck like a curly wig on her, but it's supposed to imply that it's her natural hair, but it wasn't even a good curly wig. It's like, damn son, where'd you find this? But still, something else that bothered me about this series, and this really bugged me, was the African character. Wait, that sounded bad. The African character didn't bug me. How everyone responded to the African character bothered me. Every response to what dude was saying was some ignorant shit. It was like making fun of him. He was the butt of the jokes. He wasn't even saying like stupid or goofy or ignorant shit. He was speaking that knowledge. Like he was saying some real true shit. And people will respond to him talking about like goats and monkeys and clicking at him. Like that shit was so fucking ignorant. Maybe the point they were trying to make went over my head or something, but every single time that happened, I just rolled my eyes. I was like, that shit is ignorant as fuck. You know who it was? Light-skinned dude who I said wasn't a good actor and his character was annoying. He was the one. Every time African dude said something about what was going on, he would respond talking about monkeys or ghosts or click at him saying some ignorant ass shit, and I just didn't understand why they did that to his character. I don't know if their purpose was to show how ignorant we are about African culture and the disconnect we have. I don't know if that's what they were trying to imply. That's how they used to write African characters, or how people will respond to African characters. They will always make jokes about them living in a hut, them being poor, diseases and all of that. And it's like, that's not all of Africa. Like, and the last thing about this show is, yet again, there's just no sign of black love. Like there's no representation for black love. You have a black dude, Reggie, who's chasing the mixed girl with identity issues, who's dating the white boy, but she cheats on the white boy with the black boy. And then you have Nia Long's character, a lesbian teacher who's cheating on her girlfriend with Troy, a black student. And then you have Troy and Coco, but they're clearly not in a legitimate relationship and they don't end up together. Sam ends up with nobody. I don't want to say I would let it pass, but I would understand if they didn't have the opportunity to show black love because of the characters that they had. But there was a point where Reggie even was like, I'm gonna marry me a beautiful, intelligent, dark-skinned girl, and one of his closest friends, I think her name was Joelle or something, they were clearly good friends. They clearly had chemistry. She was always there for him, especially during the times when Sam wasn't. There was clearly something, and I wish they would have just showed, even for a minute, that there's a chance that their relationship can go much further than just friendship. When it comes to black shows, black movies, black writers and directors creating stuff, my expectations are so high. There's like key elements that I'm really looking for. Like the main things that I'm looking to see when I watch these type of things now is, I want to see black love, I want to see a strong relationship between a black father and son, and I want to see respect for the black woman. And I don't understand why it's so difficult to put those things in there, but it's like, damn, give me 2 out of 3. You feel me? Give me 2 out of 3. Give me something. They didn't have black love in the show. They didn't have a strong relationship between a black father and son. I mean, that tension was kind of necessary for the drama of the show. And yes, there was respect for black women, but it's like, why is it so difficult? Is it that difficult? We used to see this shit all the time. The Different World, the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince. Well, I mean, he didn't really have his daddy, but Uncle Phil was his father figure, and that was a good ass father figure. Damn, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. for real. And I'm not saying they don't exist now. It definitely does exist, but it's like we should be taking advantage every chance that we get, and we just don't. And it's just a little disappointing. So like I said, the series didn't really start to pick up for me until about halfway through the season, like episode 5 or 6. And I'm sure all of us can agree that the party scene where the officer pulls the gun on Reggie is kind of the turning point for the show, and that's where things like really get interesting. Overall, I think this was a pretty good series. I think it definitely spoke volumes to black students on campuses, especially at PWIs who have dealt with racism. A lot of these scenarios were definitely very relatable, especially when I was back in school. I think this show is more for people who aren't aware of what's going on. If there's a season 2, I probably would watch it, but I mean, it would probably be chilling in my list for a couple of weeks. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna break my neck to watch it or like binge watch it or anything. And if I had to rate this series, I hate this part because I never know if it's out of 5 or 10. I think I say this in every review video. I think we're just gonna stick with 5. I'd probably give it like a maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. So what did you guys think about this series? What's your favorite parts? What didn't you like? Do you think it was better than the movie? Do you think it's worse than the movie? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, comment, you know, you won't.